start item 3 of chapter of part 1. Is chapter 4. I'm sorry. Theories, and this chapter, what Kardec does, as he's going to explain here very soon, is to give an idea to us of all the theories that have been formed regarding to the phenomena of mediumship, and therefore to the Spiritism itself, since the basic foundation of Spiritism is mediumship. And just to be agreeable, as we always try to define things before we move on, wanted to ask, what is a theory, right?
Very good.
So basically, a theory is an idea, or a collective, or a set of ideas that seeks to explain facts. A theory is let's say, one step above a hypothesis, and let's say 2 steps below a law. You come out with a hypothesis. That hypothesis, you generate theories. When those theories are repeatedly, consistently, and proved to be factual, they basically become laws, right? And talking about science, okay? Not talking about judicial law, justice like that. A law like a law of gravity, right? And we still have a theory of evolution. For whatever reasons, the evolution have not yet become a law. It is still on the realm of being a theory. Okay, naturally, because scientists does not have enough arguments to transit it from a theory to a law. Is it significant or not? That's a different discussion. Okay. We all develop theories for facts, and usually our theories that we develop are based in our intellectual abilities. It's also influenced by our own experiences, by our beliefs, by our prejudices, and it may go for highly subjective to more objective as we progress. Okay? So let's see what Kardec tells about those theories, and which theories are he talking about here.
Okay, theories. When the strange phenomenon of Spiritism began to occur, or rather, when they began to recur in these later days, they engendered more doubt than anything as to their reality, and even more as their course. When they were verified by irrefutable testimony and by experiments that anyone could conduct, the result was that everyone had their own way of interpreting them according to their own personal ideas, beliefs, and prejudices. Hence, numerous theories began to appear, which careful observation were reduced to their real worth. Spiritism adversaries soon saw in these differing opinions a counter-argument, alleging that Spiritists themselves were unable to agree with one another. It was a very precarious reason, however, when one considers the fact that the first few steps of any developing science are necessarily uncertain until time enables the gathering and coordinating of the facts into a set opinion. As facts become complete and better observed, premature ideas are set aside and unity of opinion is finally established, at least concerning the fundamental points, if not as to all the details. Such was also the case with Spiritism, which was unable to escape this common law, and which, due to its very nature, gave rise even more to a diversity of interpretations. Nevertheless, we can state that in this sense, its advance has been much more rapid than that of older sciences. Medicine, for example, which still continues to divide the best scholars.
Thanks. So naturally, our intellectual progress makes us more investigative, more analytical. It makes us to question things more before we accept or reject anything. Okay, the new and the old as well. We may become, as we become more intellectual, we may review old things and continue to accept or reject, and we'll be more analytical into accepting new things. Okay, and when those new things shows up, presents to us, we will use this intellectual, analytical abilities, and with that, we will create our own theories. Well, most of us are followers. You're just gonna choose one that is out there and pick and go along with that one. Very often that's what happens. And when you choose that, which ones we're gonna pick up and move with, that is really based on in our prejudices, our experiences, our beliefs that leads us to choose one of the theories out there for us to believe. And of course, some people will develop theories out of ulterior motive, for secondary reasons other than the fact itself. But we're gonna leave that aside and not know, and let's consider only those who have a true desire of understand and explain the facts being presented, okay, without ulterior motive, which may be present in many of them, okay? And if you do that, when Spiritism came in, many developed theories to explain. And by Spiritism here, basically you're talking about the phenomena of mediumship, and you talk even more about the physical phenomena than the intelligent phenomena, um, most of it, okay? Those who do not accept Spiritism would come with ideas that, you see, even among yourselves, Spiritists, you don't even agree on everything yourselves.
Right.
It's a very sorrow kind of argument because this is a fact in all sciences, especially in the development of those sciences.
Mm.
Kardec used here medicine as an example. We can go into every single science, and amongst the scholars of those science, not everybody is 100% agreeable. They don't agree to everything. It's a very, bad kind of argument, so to say, of those who reject Spiritism. But they did come out with a series of theories to explain what they were witnessing. Okay, um, and here you're gonna see some types of those theories. So basically, the theories that Kardec's talking about is the theories of those who reject the Spiritism came to explain the phenomenon.
Mm.
Questions? Okay, let's go.
Okay. 37. To methodically follow a progressive order of ideas, it might be useful to investigate first the so-called negative theories, that is, those proposed by the adversaries of Spiritism. We have already refuted such objections, but in the introduction and conclusion of the Spirits book, as well as in the shorter work entitled What is Spiritism? Thus, it would not be worthwhile to return to the subject in full here, and we will limit ourselves to summarizing in a few words the reasons upon which the objections are based. There are two types of spirit phenomena, those involving physical effects and those involving intelligent effects. Since they do not believe in the existence of spirits, they do not believe in anything apart from matter. It is understandable that these adversaries of Spiritism would also deny the intelligent effects. As for the physical effects, they comment on them from their own point of view, and their arguments can be summed up in the four following theories.
Okay, thanks. So here, guys, I'm going to present to us now a series of theories that the opponents of spirituals developed to us. Like I'd like to say that primarily those adversaries of spiritism are materialists, right? Which is quite obvious because Kardec can clearly say that spiritism coming in to eradicate materialism, right? That's a statement from Kardec, right? Spiritism is going to eradicate materialism. So far, the materialists would absolutely reject it because they don't want to be eradicated. Okay, and since they don't believe in anything besides matter, they could not believe in any spiritual phenomena. And the intellectual phenomena, they say it is just not happening. Period. But for the physical phenomena, it's up there. You're seeing. They have to come out with theories to see what is it that we are seeing. Okay, and then they come with many of them, and one of them, of course, would be the Charlatanism theory, which we're going to read it now.
Okay. Okay.
Hey, Elmo,
Yeah.
just out of curiosity, I don't know if you read or heard. Do you happen to know how the materialist people explain or what they think about for example, a child that's born like with a very intellectual, very intelligent, or this things that for us as spiritists we can explain because we believe in reincarnation and all the kind of stuff. It's not something like unnatural as they call, but it's something that it's hard to explain if you believe that we came from only matter. Do you happen to know how they explain or think about events like that?
The materialist it states that all of our intellectual super abilities or lack of ability, everything is about the brain. Everything is in the brain. Everything is explained on brain anatomy and physiology. Everything is about the brain. Intelligence being great intelligence of or lack of it, it's everything about the brain, period.
I don't believe.
Okay.
If it's suffices for them, good for them. It does not suffice for us, right? We need to go beyond the brain. But for them, everything's about the brain when it comes to intelligence and nothing else.
So they believe that those people that, let's say, that they have like they are more intellectual.
They have a super brain, yes.
They were born with something on the brain that makes them be different than the other people.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. 38. The Charlatanism Theory. Among the antagonists, many attribute the physical effects to fraud due to the fact that some of them may be imitated. This supposition would turn all spiritists into dupes and all mediums into charlatans without even considering these individuals' status, character, wisdom, and honorability. If it deserved any kind of response at all, we would counter that some of the phenomena of physics have also been imitated by stage magicians, which proves nothing against the real science. Moreover, there are persons whose character dismisses any suspicion of fraud, and one would have to be completely lacking in good manners and civility to dare to tell them to their face that they are accomplices in charlatanism. In one very respectable meeting place, a gentleman who regarded himself as well-mannered made an observation of such kind, and the hostess said, "Sir, if you are not satisfied, you can get your money back at the door." And she pointed to the door, implying what would be best for him to do. Should we affirm that there have never been abuses? If so, we would have to believe that humans are perfect. Instead, they abuse everything, even what is most sanctified. Then why would some not also abuse spiritism? But the fact that something can be used wrongly is no reason for one to prejudge it unfavorably. We can determine the good faith of others by the motives behind their actions. Where there is no profit to be made, there is no motive for charlatanism.
Thanks. So with the theory of charlatanism, first of all, Kardec states multiple times says that yes, there is charlatans over there. There are opportunistic microbials out there who will do everything they can to make a buck. They will try to profit of anything at all, including pseudo or false mediums, pseudo or false performers of physical phenomena. Kardec himself was able to observe quite a few of them. So first of all, he does not deny that there is, again, the opportunistic microbials out there, right? But the same way that we have people making wine in labs who never see a drop of real grape in their lives, you're not gonna say that there is true wine made of grapes, right? There is people who falsifies, who creates some tinged alcoholic beverage they label as wine, that has nothing to do with wine. But there is also true wine that is made of true grapes. So the same thing with the phenomenon. And how really offensive and derogatory and disrespectful is this kind of theory, because now it puts all the spiritists and all the mediums of physical phenomena as charlatans, as someone trying to perform a stage performances, and you ask for what if there is no profit? And that is the greatest thing that Kardec puts over here. You can only suspect, or you should only suspect charlatanism in cases of individuals seeking to profit. Now, individuals may seek to profit financially, or may seek to profit by creating fears. I am a powerful medium, I'm gonna prove it to you, and if you don't do what I wanted to do, I shall put a spell on you or whatever, okay? But where there is no intention of a profit, you're not gonna find charlatanism. And that is the greatest quality of mediumship in spiritism, that it is a mediumship with Jesus, that does not seek a prophet, that seeks only to improve ourselves intellectually, morally, primarily morally, and to be of assistance to others. Period. That's how, or that is the objective of mediumship in spiritism. Therefore, anyone, when they witness a phenomenon, they should, of course, be suspicious. And if there is any profit involved in it, one should walk away from it. Okay, but where there is no intention of profit, only there is intention of being helpful, then charlatanism or fraud is pretty much ruled out. Okay.
Okay. 39. The madness theory. Out of condescension, some dismiss any suspicion of fraud and assert that those who are not fooled by others are nonetheless victims of self-deception, which is equivalent to calling them imbeciles. But when disbelievers are less tactful, they frankly state that it is a simple case of madness, unceremoniously attributing to themselves the sole privilege of sanity. This is the main argument of those who can come up with no better reason. Moreover, this form of criticism is proven foolish by its own frivolousness, and it does not deserve the time that would be wasted in refuting it. Besides, spiritists are hardly affected by it. They courageously follow their path, consoled by the thought that they have many people of uncontestable merit as their companions in misfortune. In fact, one would have to admit that this madness, if it may be regarded as such, displays a peculiar characteristic. It seems to show a preference for reaching the most enlightened class of individuals, whom Spiritism presently counts as being by far the majority of its adherents. If among them there are a few eccentrics, they pose no more of a threat against Spiritism than do religious fanatics against religion, melomaniacs against music, or mathematical maniacs against mathematics. All systems have their fanatics, and one would have to be very obtuse to confuse the exaggeration of a system with the system itself. For a broader treatment of the issue, we will refer the reader to the booklet, What is Spiritism? Or the Spirits Book, section 15 of the introduction.
Okay, so here they're basically giving us a choice, right? Would you rather be fooled by others or by fooled by yourselves, right? If you're being fooled by yourselves, they are labeled you as crazy, that you are not seeing what are we seeing, which pretty much places them as normal and all of us as abnormal, if not totally crazy, abnormal. Okay, so they label that only crazy people, only people in state of madness would go along with this idea of spiritism. And the kind of questions here that is quite interesting, that this kind of madness that they label, it seems to be more prevalent, seems to be more consistent with a more enlightened class of individuals, as put over here, whom spiritualists present count as being by far the majority of its adherents. So since from the beginning of spiritualism, and we're talking about spiritism, okay? You're not talking about materialism. You're not talking about individuals who were enjoying the sciences in Paris, in Paris in the 1850s. You're talking about those who went a step above and took spiritism, the doctrine of Spiritism as their doctrine, okay? You're not talking about spiritualists who are there enjoying the phenomena without any. You're talking about spiritists here. The class who have really become spiritist has always been a more intellectual, so to say, classes. And this affect today. There's a census done not too long ago. Forget what year that in Brazil it showed that Spiritism was about 9%. Spiritists are about 9% of the population, but was that in per capita was the what they call religion. Of course, we don't call religion. Of the greatest number of college degree graduate individuals, 30 degrees or says in Brazil. By far, per capita, of course, because you can't compare, was the religion, as they call it, okay, to have the greatest number of college graduate individuals. And we have to question why, right? And we have to try to come out with some answers of why. One of the things that is being proposed, it's not me, those individuals who with a higher intellectual ability are kind of free thinkers. They are free to think. They do not have their thoughts limited by dogmas or by anything else. They expand their thoughts, and those individuals are free to seek question, to seek answers for their question, to explore more without constriction, being constricted by this or that dogma, or this or that belief, or this or that fear. Again, fear is a byproduct of ignorance. So indeed, Spiritism, since from the beginning, if it is madness, is a madness that afflicted a class that is more intellectual. Okay?
Okay.
Questions, comments? Okay, move on.
40. Hallucination Theory. Oh,
May I ask a question?
yes.
Please.
Yeah. In fact, this is why I do enjoy Spiritism, because we here we read and we think. Okay, and I this I guess that's why I'm a spiritist. But at the same time, I find that it's also a drawback, isn't it? Because then we cannot reach other people, because most people it's they're kind of dogmatic. They have to be spoon fed, and this is it. Am I making sense? I mean, I'm happy I'm doing this. I'm happy I'm a thinker. I'm happy I'm reading the books. But at the same time, I see that most people out there are not into this, Elmo.
Or what?
I'm not into reading books. I'm not into thinking.
Okay.
So this part that is part of Spiritism, it could be like we won't be able to reach that many people.
And what is the drawback?
That's a drawback, not being able to reach that many people.
I don't see that as a drawback.
Oh, okay, good. Why don't you see that as a drawback? Very good. Very good. No, I like that.
Well, you see, just yesterday in our just at home, in one of the books that we read, there's a passage of Emmanuel in which he's telling us not to feel bad, not to be drawn back by all the troubles that we see around us, all the ignorance that we see around us.
Exactly.
And it places us in a position, that was just discussed with my wife yesterday, sometimes I feel like that we are led through misunderstanding of the teachings of Christ, misunderstanding of the teachings of Socrates, that we should always put ourselves at the lowest level, the most humbled level, as all I know is that I know nothing, and and that we are equal to everyone or even beneath everyone. And when we're dealing with spiritism, sometimes we feel like I am kind of step above those who reject spiritism. I am a kind of a step above of those who limited all all their intellectuality and explanation for everything in only matter, that are not able to transcend beyond matter. And then you feel bad. So am I being too proud? Am I going outside of what Christ teaches me to be humbled? Am I going outside of what Socrates tells us, that no, one knows, then I know nothing? And the fact is the fact, is the truth, and that's what Emmanuel put right there. If you did your homework, if you did your work, and you left kindergarten and you moved to first grade, you are a step above those who are still in kindergarten.
I agree.
So there is not a drawback. It is a fact, pure and simple. Now, what do you do with this? Do you put yourself on a pedestal? I'm the good one here, or you understand the responsibility that it places upon you to now help our brothers and sisters to come up to your level, instead of rejecting them or anything like that. And it's very valuable, especially for today. There is all that's going on around us. Not as much with the virus. The virus is gonna come and it's gonna go. But with all the extremely radical beliefs and thoughts of the far right and the far left, both equally ignorant, and people was moving towards the center, I had to say, I don't want to step above all those who are far right and far left. So what is my responsibility? To be judgmental to them, or to try to bring everybody a little bit more towards the center? But as Emmanuel put in that same message, is all you can do is wait for them to come and ask you. The same way that Christ invites us, come, follow me. But it does not force you to follow. Respect your free will, respect your time. The same thing I told to Emmanuel when I forgot what the name he was then. You can come and follow me now, or you do it in 1,000 years. But it's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen.
So, yeah, I don't think it's a drawback. It is just a fact.
Got it. I like that.
If you choose to read.
It's a reality, period. That's it. Don't
if you choose to read more books.
Don't put judgment into it. Got it. Very good.
That's right.
Don't put judgment into it. It's a reality. Very good.
The books are there for everyone. If you choose to pick up and read, good for you. If those who doesn't want to read it now, tomorrow perhaps they will do so. Our responsibility is to have them available for those who want.
Yeah, got it. Well explained. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay. So, 40, the hallucination theory. Another opinion, which is less.
No, we just finished that now.
Oh, wait.
It's 41 now, right?
40, yeah.
41.
Yeah, 41, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
For John.
No, number 40.
It's 40, no, right? Am I?
Yeah, it's 40.
Yeah, it's 40.
It's 40.
Okay, sorry. Oh, yeah, the hallucination. But they are so similar.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
Hallucination theory, another opinion, which is less offensive because it has a scientific nuance, entails attributing the phenomenon to an illusion of the senses. Thus, observers might be of good faith, but they see something that is not really there. When they see a table rise and remain suspended in the air without any visible support, it means that the table did not actually move. Their seeing it in the air is due to an illusion or some kind of refractory effect, like that which makes us see in the water a reflection of a star or some other object that appears to have been dislocated from its true position. That may be possible, but those who have witnessed this particular phenomenon are able to affirm that the table really was suspended because they were able to walk underneath it, which would have been quite difficult if it had not actually left the ground. Additionally, many times after having been raised, the table breaks with it, hits the floor. Could that also be an optical illusion? A well-recognized physiological cause may undoubtedly make us see something turn which is not actually moving at all, or make us feel as though we are spinning when in fact we are standing still. However, when several persons are gathered around a table that is pulled by a movement that is so rapid that it is difficult to follow, some are even knocked down. Could they have suddenly been overcome with vertigo, like a drunkard who believes he sees his house pass right in front of him?
Okay. Okay, with the hallucination theory, it's almost like spiritists put themselves in a state of self-induced hypnotism, in which they create a parallel reality. You know, it create a new reality of facts. Basically, that's what they're telling that spiritists do. And Kardec say, yes, it is possible hallucinations happens, but that's just not the case. We know individuals can go in a state of hallucinations, of delusion, for many different causes, extremely high fever, drug-induced, alcohol-induced, as we use the example over here. But it not be likely that a collective of individuals would be hallucinated at the same time in the same place, right? If one or two, yes, but no, 15, 20 people, it's less likely. And also they have evidences of the use of the table of example of levitation of tables in which individuals could walk underneath of it. And once the phenomenon ceases, the table just fall from the air and breaks itself when it hits the ground. So how to explain that is also a hallucination. So Kardec says, yes, the hallucination happens, but that's just not the case with the phenomena that happens in spiritism. Okay.
Yep. Okay. Number 41.
Okay.
Crackling Tendon Theory. If such were the case with the sense of sight, it would be no different with hearing. But when all the raps are heard by an entire group, they cannot reasonably be attributed to an auditorial illusion. Also, we have dismissed the whole notion of fraud, since attentive observation has proven that there was no fortuitous or material cause involved. It is true that a learned physician has given a peremptory explanation for the matter, according to his own opinion. The cause results from the voluntary or involuntary contractions of the muscular tendon of the fibula. And with respect to this subject, he used the most complete anatomical minutiae to demonstrate the mechanism for producing these crackling noises, to imitate the beating of a drum, and even to perform arithmetic areas. Thus, he concluded that those who hear the raps from a table are victims of either a hoax or an illusion. This fact in itself is nothing new. Unfortunately for the author of the alleged discovery, his theory cannot explain away all the cases. First, Let us state that those who are gifted with the strange ability to make the tendon of the fibula or any other tendon crackle at will and play musical arias are exceptional creatures, while making tables crackle is quite common, and those who have the ability rarely have the ability to do the other. Second, the learned doctor forgot to explain how the crackling tendons of a person who is motionless and at some distance from the table can produce vibrations that may be sensed by the touch, how the crackles can be heard by the participants at will and in various areas of the table, in other furniture, in walls, and in ceiling, etc. How finally the action of the tendon can extend to a table that is not being touched at all and make it move by itself. Besides, if this theory really explained anything at all, it would only invalidate the rap phenomenon, but would not apply to all the other modes of communication. Consequently, we conclude that its author has judged without having seen or without having seen everything sufficiently. It is always lamentable that in addressing a subject they are unfamiliar with, scientists hurry to give explanations that the facts themselves belie. Their own knowledge should make them more circumspect in their judgments, especially when such knowledge broadens the boundaries of the unknown.
Okay. So here in this theory, you see the absurd, the length that people who are a diversity of spiritism would go to come out with such craziness to explain what is being witnessed. Of course, here we're dealing now not with visual, but with auditory hallucinations, or how to explain the raps, the noise that come from tables, and come with this crazy way out of the left field idea that it's crackling of tendons, that we have some tendons in our tibia that is capable of making noise. Yeah, some people can crack. That I particularly never heard anything loud enough like that for me to say that I haven't seen it, but it has been documented. People can make those noises with their own tendons. But from that, to use that to explain the wrappings on tables, that is not only limited to tables, limited, as Kardec says earlier, to other parts of the room or furniture of the room, it's such a craziness. And individuals in this case, medical doctors who had come out with this idea, Kardec questions why do they use that so much intellectual ability, use such poor judgments, such poor ability to get out of the box and see things for what they are without preconceived ideas, without prejudices. Someone to come out with such a theory has to be someone with some intellectual ability, but completely enclosed inside of a box that are not able to see the reality of facts. Take in consideration that these are people being completely honest. That's what they truly believe that explains the wrappings, the noises that come from inanimate objects. Crackling of tendons. How absurd could that be?
Yeah, that's kind of far-fetched, isn't it?
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, I will consider all the possibilities except the true one, except that it's coming from spirits. That has to be all kinds of other explanations, but the one that is a spiritual phenomena is completely not acceptable. The crackling of tendons is more logical, is more rational, is more intelligent than the possibility of things coming, having a spiritual thing. And again, taking consideration, these people are being completely 100% honest on their beliefs, not trying to fool anyone here. It's mind-boggling.
I know, but
Yes.
But again, I mean, there's people who just find the non-existence of dinosaur ever on Earth. That comes with all kinds of craziness. Theories of what is it that being presented, those bones, everything that's presented in the museums of natural history, they give explanation for those things. They will absolutely not accept the existence of dinosaurs because it's not mentioned on the Bible. They will come with the most crazy, stupid
yeah, but
theories.
yeah,
But no, could not be dinosaurs because it's not mentioned in the Bible.
I don't know if I'm being condescending, but you know, it is kind of far-fetched, all those things, but at the same time, then you start like it's laughable too, isn't it? It's kind of laughable. It's like, wow.
It is, in my opinion.
It is, isn't it? Okay. I thought
What
I was
about the
being
flat
condescending,
earthers?
but yeah, I thought I
Yeah,
was
the Earth is flat. That
Yeah.
man never touched the moon.
exactly.
The coronavirus is a hoax.
Oh,
Yeah, that becomes, you know, it's laughable too.
It's
Yeah.
unbelievable. You have to really see what is the mind of those individuals.
They're Holocaust deniers too.
Never happened. Exactly.
Yeah,
The Holocaust never happened. That I heard too.
it is.
Elmo, this tendon thing issue here, wasn't that the whole story behind the Fox sisters? Does anybody remember that story?
Oh, not that I know.
The Fox sisters.
I don't know. I really don't know. I
Right.
know that.
I thought that they were kind of that's what they were famous for exactly cracking tendons and I don't remember details. I thought that somebody would know.
Or when they become fraudulent and they got caught at one point. That's what you mean?
Right. Yeah, I'm not familiar
Yeah.
actually with that whole story. I thought I knew a little better, but I'll look into it. But I think it has something to do with the crackling of tendons and making that kind of noise. To me, it's very interesting that maybe because it's written, I mean, clearly because it was written in the 19th century, that is so tied to the type, it's exclusively tied to the type of mediumship kind of performance. It was so basic back then that they had to, the turning of the tables moving or the cracking of all this kind of paraphernalia, in my opinion, that it's that we evolved so much as mediums too, in order, not only the message has evolved, but the process of this message being transmitted has evolved with it together with the mediums, people like Chico and Givaldo, who are tremendous mediums. They don't need to resort to any of this stuff that they are going against here that were common in the 1800s, right?
Yeah, the true mediums are true mediums now and in the 1800s and the 1500s as well. They practice true mediumship. The phenomenon happens naturally for them. And there are the charlatans, the one who have ulterior motive and fake mediumship. The same way there are people over there that are faking wine. The people there that is faking Renoir. There's always charlatans in every field, but there is also true mediumship, and the true mediumship of the 1500s and 1800s, and now it's there, it's real, and that's why we need to be intelligent, calm, investigative, analytical, and not taking everything easily. Investigate on everything.
Thank you.
Yeah.
42. Continue. The physical cause theory. From this point on, we will leave behind the theories of absolute denial. Having admitted the reality of the phenomenon, the first thought that naturally occurred to those who witnessed them was to attribute the movements of magnetism, electricity, or the action of some kind of fluid, that is, to an exclusively material and physical cause. There was nothing unreasonable about this theory, and it would have prevailed if the phenomenon had been limited to purely mechanical effects. A circumstance that even seemed to corroborate in it certain cases was the increase in the phenomenon's power because of the number of individuals present, in that each one of them could be seen as an element of a human electrical battery. As we have already stated, what characterizes a true theory is its ability to explain all the facts. If one single fact contradicts it, it is because it is wrong, incomplete, or too rigid, which is what applied in this case. The movements and raps reveal signs of intelligence in that they obeyed a will and responded to thought. Thus, they had to have an intelligent cause behind them, and since the effect ceased to be merely physical, the cause itself had to be something other than physical. Therefore, the theory of an exclusive action by a material agent was abandoned and now only resurfaces among those who have made a prior judgment without having seen anything. Hence, the crucial point is to attest to an intelligent action, point that can convince whoever wants to make the effort to observe.
Thanks.
Okay.
So now we come a different kind of sect of theories. Now, of the first ones that I saw before were individuals who did contest the phenomena happened. Now here, they are not contesting that the phenomena happens. What they contest is the cause of the phenomenon. Okay? So let's imagine that we are all a bunch of people, summertime, hanging out in Central Park, and look up in the sky and there is a cow flying. And everybody in Central Park up there is seeing the cow is flying. It's right above our head. You know, the cow is flying back and forth, cow flying, and you see it and everybody sees it. Now, you cannot deny what you're seeing. There is a cow flying over there. Okay? And now you can have to come out with many theories to explain how is that cow be able to fly up there. Everybody's seen of the cow. And just to make even more, and everybody come out with ideas, okay? Many theories, all right? One of the theories is that cow has a severe case of constipation and he's so bloated, so much gas, so much methane in that large intestines that it's floating up there. It becomes lighter than air. Valid theory, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, it got so much air that now hot air that is like a balloon right now. It floating up there. So happens that cow defecates. And cow's manure fall right on Central Park, and now the experts in cow manure take a look at it, and yes, it's indeed, it's cow's feces. Now the theory of the cow being in such a constipated and bloated goes away, because once she defecates, she would blow up all that air as well. When that was the case, that cow would fall off with its own feces, right?
Yeah.
That this theory now it's out. So you have to come out with different theories. Another theory is a mechanical cow. It's not a real animal, and they just put some cow manure over there to try to fool us. It's a valid theory. Now somebody goes over there, get near the and see that it's not. It's a real animal. When you poke it, you feel pain. It's a real cows flying up there. Right? So we will develop many theories to explain something that we are seeing. Now we are not denying what we're seeing anymore. And the first kind of theory is denying even what they are seeing. Even if I see, I won't believe it. Now we move to, well, I see it, I have to believe it, and I have to explain it. The explanation cannot be spiritual. So I have to come out with different theories. Okay. Um, and one of them is the causal physical theory is that everything is exclusive material and has a physical cause, right? And he says, well, here there was nothing unreasonable about this theory, and it would have prevailed if the phenomena had been limited purely to mechanical effects. And this is very important because if the table is levitating out there, and everybody's seen the table levitating out there, and all the possibility of fraud is ruled out. There is no fraud, there is no invisible lines, there is no magnet, there's absolutely not. Everything is well. The thing is, the table is really floating in the air. You have to come out with an explanation for that now. One of them that's purely mechanical. Okay, plausible. But what derails this theory? This theory is the intelligence answers given by that table. Well, if the table can mechanically levitate, fine, it may be. But it could not mechanically provide intelligent answers. It could not provide, let's say, today's date. You ask the table, what is today's date? And the table gives the correct date of the day. That could not explain. And according to Kardec, a theory to be valid, they have to be valid in no aspects of it. You can't select the ones that is acceptable, the ones that's not acceptable. If it's mechanical, fine, but mechanical cannot explain the intelligence. Therefore, this theory is ruled out. But again, you see that is already one step above. Okay, so now it's I not deny what I'm seeing anymore. I'm seeing it, and I have to accept what I'm seeing. But I have to find another reason besides being spiritual. And then they'll come out with all kinds of stuff here.
Hey Elmo,
Yep.
I got a question by a friend yesterday, and he presented me a question that I wasn't able to answer. He asked me if I believe in God, in Jesus, and I say yes. And he asked if I believe in the Bible, I say yes. And then he asked me, so why you guys have all these other books? Why you have to have a gospel according to Spiritism? He asked me, do you read the Bible on your meetings? And I said, no, we don't read the Bible, but we follow Jesus' teachings. And then he said, but do you have anything against the Bible? I said, no, I don't have anything against the Bible. And then he asked me, can you show me all these things that you believe on the Bible? And I told him, listen, I'm not an expert on Bible. But he pretty much, hammered me on the Bible, since Bible is the, is the book that, it sets the path for all of the other books. And I told him, listen, I don't know, but I will study and I will ask around and I will come up with an answer. I'm not saying the answer will satisfy you, but Now I am curious as well. So I would like to hear your comments because I find it interesting that some people they think that the Bible is the book that is enough to have all the answers from past, present, and future.
Well, I think the answer, or my answer to that individual would be that I see the Bible and I read the Bible as a book of fables
I guess.
with strong moral contents for us to learn and to follow. That the Bible, we would not read the Bible literally, and what's being presented in the Bible as being absolute scientific historical fact, because our science already shows impossibility of those being indeed facts. But the moral content of the moral of the story, so to say, is what is significant in the fables of the Bibles, both the first and the second Testament. That although I do not believe that Adam was the solo first man on earth created by God, and God decides to take a rib of him to make a woman, the moral teachings of Genesis is extremely important for us, and we should really learn how to read the Bible. I know that that would not satisfy that individual. That the individual probably would think that I'm even worse or crazier than what he thought before. But that would be my answer to that individual.
Yeah, I mentioned the literary part. I even mentioned an example that John gives all the time that I find awesome, that if you take a kid on a park, that the kid will describe things the way they see elephant flies and stuff, but not necessarily is what's happening. It's the way they interpret what was happening at that time. And I try to explain to them that Bible is for us is the guide, but we need to have uh, 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 a more in-depth study of everything that was happening. And but he said, "Oh, so," and then he asked me, "Oh, so you're saying that the Bible is incomplete?" I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that, imagine us with all the information technology that we have nowadays, we still don't understand the Bible. Could you imagine us like 2,000 years ago or 30,000 years ago? How simple we were, how ignorant we were. How can we, and if you try to say that at that time we were able to understand Jesus, so to us, we are just trying to, we're not like dismissing the Bible, but we are trying to have something else in order to better understand the Bible, like tools in order so we can interpret Bible better for ourselves. But I like what you say as well.
And I think it's an argument that you're not going to win, that you present your position on it, and likely you will be rejected.
But the key word there, Renato, is the moral teachings. The Bible serves us as a guide of the moral teachings of Jesus, and that's it. If you want to say the rest is, the rest is, it cannot be taken literally.
Yeah. For lessons in history, I go to the history books. For lessons in anthropology, I go to the anthropology books. For moral teachings, I go to the Bible, especially to the teachings of Christ. And that we use the gospel according to Spiritism, just because it further explains the teachings of of Christ and makes easier for me to understand and perhaps to follow eventually.
The moral teachings, right?
The-
Because the gospel is the moral teachings of Jesus.
Yeah,
Sorry, did I understand wrong that Renato was asking that your friend Renato asked you, show me in your books where show me in the Bible mentions of the stuff that is mentioned in our books. Is that what the question was?
The question was because show me in the Bible where reincarnation. Show me in the Bible or lower zones or mediumship
Oh, I
or
see.
all the stuff that are the basis for our spiritism. He asked me, show me in the Bible all these things that the spiritist.
You can. You
Yeah,
just
but
have to know where, but you can.
yeah, that's what I told him. I'm not an expert on Bible, but I would
Yeah.
look into it and see.
Right, and also you have to remember that someone who comes with a question like that is invested so much in religion and background, and you could have the same conversation with someone who follows the Talmud, for instance, and you'll be the same. What I think it's a good answer would be to say that this precedes Christianity. But Christianity, so it happens that it's a tremendous tool that whatever belief was before Christianity was using is perfect to be using together with this. That's how I see it. I don't know.
Thank you.
as Ron said, you can show all those things in the Bible, in the First and the Second Testament, but that likely this individual will not accept. You continue to reject. You'll be the ones known that still does not accept that there was dinosaurs on Earth because it was never mentioned in the Bible.
I like that.
Okay,
I like
I
that.
think we went over already.
Okay.
All right, who wants to make a final prayer for us?
Make the prayer, Helma.
Thank you.
Our Father, Jesus Christ, our spiritual benefactors, we have come here in participation to our lesson here today in the Spirit Book, in the Medium's Book. Continuing this study of so much importance in our lives to redirect us, continue giving us our needs of why we're here. Thank you, dear Lord, for all that you have given us. Now we pray, dear Father, for those that are here on this planet going through trials and tribulations. We pray for their peace and serenity. And we continue to pray throughout the week. The most important, to study, to understand, and to put into practice. We're grateful, dear Lord. We ask as we leave here today to keep our hearts and soul and spirit alert to our studies, helping all those around us, keeping our faith, especially those who do not understand. Father, with that in mind, we permission to close our meeting tonight. So